Welcome back. Well, as I mentioned, we have Jeff Parker here. Welcome. Glad you could make it today.
It's great to be here.
Good. I know we kind of mixed up your days a little bit, and as soon as we figure out what your schedule is, because we know how busy you are, we'll maybe have a solid day that you can show up, because I know how much people like to hear what you have to say.
Well, and it's a pleasure to be here anytime, but I think schedule-wise, we'll start looking at coming once a week as opposed to two.
Yes.
And I think we can do that in part because such great numbers. COVID's not going to be as big an issue going forward as other things that we have going on in the village.
Well, exactly. And so with that, we'll go ahead and start with some COVID stuff, which is great news. Yellow tier.
Yeah, hey, look at the
Oh,
tie.
you wore a yellow tie. He did. I asked him to do that. That's a crack up.
So we will hear today, but everything is in line that we will go to the yellow tier in Orange County tomorrow.
Great.
So we'll hear that news later, but everything that we're getting in the background is that it'll transition tomorrow. So that's great because that'll allow us to open up our capacities with the activities from 25% to 50%, which just, again, allows more reservations and allows more activities for our people in the village. So that's positive.
Excellent, excellent.
Going back to the numbers, all really, really good.
39.
Cases for all of Orange County, just 39 cases. Still getting a lot of tests though, over almost 5,000 tests. So that again bodes well for the stats that we'll show you on the next board. But zero fatalities, really great news that it's leveling, getting that down to zero. And the most promising ones that we've always kept a look at, 79 hospitalizations total in Orange County and only 13 in ICU.
Right.
So
great news.
Again, going back to your question and comment about people being able to go to the hospital for other things, elective surgeries, all of those are back in scheduling now because of this capacity issue.
Right. I think it's great news. The interesting thing that I'm finding is that people are still a little leery. We've had a whole year of being afraid, right? And therefore, I think it's going to take some time for people to feel super comfortable to get out there. Some of us are like, woohoo, yay, but there's still a good majority that are a little concerned.
Up on the board, you see that we have 414 cases for Laguna Woods. That's only one increase in 2 weeks. So it shows you that we've leveled out. And as far as fatalities in the city of Laguna Woods, no change in 2 weeks. So both really, really positive numbers.
Well, good. Well, excellent news, perfect information. And like we said, we definitely want to help people get out there. Let's take a look at that one chart that we normally do, because I wanted to see the yellow across the board.
Exactly. It's across the board. We're under 2% on the per capita, so that means that less than 2 per 100,000 have positive cases, and we saw that going down with now at 36, 38 cases.
Right.
Test positive rate for 7 days, 1%, which is great, and also the health equity at 1.2. One of the things I did want to mention, and it's in the Orange County Health website, if you go to there, is there's been some questions when the CDC came out with the masking issue, and I think there's been some confusion. So the CDC made some recommendations that people that have been vaccinated don't need to wear a mask anymore. And that's a great recommendation. I think that's where we all are headed. But California still has the policy that requiring masks to be worn, especially indoors, is still a requirement. Public transportation is still a requirement. So we'll continue to follow those guidelines until June 15th, when the governor has indicated in the same press release that wearing masks will no longer be required as of that date. So again, if you have any questions, there's a press release that walks you through indoor settings. Fully vaccinated people can go outside without wearing masks as long as they're not in a crowd. Or they're by themselves walking down the beach or something like that. There's no requirement, especially if you're vaccinated, to do that. So there is areas where you can, if you've been vaccinated, and a lot of us have here in the village and those that have been involved, so that's great. It's the unvaccinated person that we're still trying to protect and be protected from, and that's why we want to continue to wear the mask for another month.
Gotcha. Okay, good information. Now, in regards to the yellow tier, I know you said that means we can open up capacity. Is that really about all the yellow tier does is allow us for capacity, or is there other things?
No, it's primary capacity. So like in the case of big areas like Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm, they get to go up to 35% capacity now. So, but the mask requirements are all the same.
Okay.
So it's really, really just getting more activities going, more indoor restaurant activities,
Okay.
all of that, if they can find workers, as we talked
Yeah,
about. The
yeah.
biggest challenge for everybody right now is a lot of part-time employment is very, very difficult to find. So a lot of businesses are struggling getting a good reopening plan.
Right.
And we're running in the same thing here with regards to part-time people. So we're gearing up with our process of hiring so that we can be ready for, if we get the go in the latter part of June, so that we can be ready to go in July.
Okay, good. So come June 15th, no tier will be applied.
That's the plan.
So that's like 100% capacity in
Yeah,
June?
you'd
And
be-
then technically maybe no masks for everyone, or we really don't know?
His plan, I mean, if you read it, is
Okay.
that no mask.
Okay.
So we'll see if that's, if he can keep to that. I'm curious as to, as we go down these ladders into the yellow tier and stuff, if we see any kind of uptick. But if we stay with those numbers that
Yeah.
we've seen, I think it's very promising that come June, we'll be in a position where we won't have to be regulating by wearing masks indoors or outdoors.
That's great. That's great. Well, perfect. Great information. Thank you.
Eh.
And then we won't see you again until next week.
Next week,
You should have a whole bunch of information by then.
sounds good. We'll probably do Monday or Tuesday because I'm going to be gone for a couple days. So
Alrighty, sounds good. Thank you.
yeah.
All right, well, good information. We are now in the yellow tiers, so look for information, mostly in your emails, your e-blast. We'll have the capacities and which places are more open, so make sure you look at that. We'll be right back with Carl Randazzo. I figured you guys would.